Your cat just chewed through your charger. He did not brush against it by accident and did not catch it with his paw. He deliberately sat down, took it in his teeth and bit through it step by step, almost with satisfaction, while you were watching. You assume it is boredom, or maybe stubborn behavior, or that he somehow chooses the most expensive things on purpose. The laptop cable, the headphones, the television wire all seem to attract him before you even notice. But this is not random destruction and not a way to punish you. What you are seeing is one of the deepest hunting reflexes, triggered automatically by a very specific shape and texture. There is a moment in the story when you understand what happens in your cat's jaws during the bite and why a cable recreates that sensation better than any toy. After that, you stop seeing damage and start seeing instinct. Before going further, there is one thing you need to understand immediately. A chewed cable is not just about money or inconvenience. The voltage in a typical home electrical system is 220 volts, and a cat's teeth conduct electricity well enough to be dangerous. One bite through an active cable can lead to an electric shock, burns inside the mouth, and in severe cases, even cardiac arrest. This does not happen constantly, but it does happen often enough to matter. The cat has no instinct that warns about electricity, because in nature electricity does not exist as a threat. His nervous system is simply not built to recognize it. He is not assessing risk, he is responding to a pattern. That is why understanding the mechanism is not optional. It is necessary and it is urgent. What your cat is responding to is something that resembles prey. To understand that, you need to look at the teeth themselves. A cat's teeth are not general tools. Each type has a very specific function shaped by millions of years of hunting. The canines are used for gripping and delivering a precise killing bite. The incisors are used for fine work, removing fur or feathers and exposing edible tissue. And the premolars, the side teeth with sharp edges, function like scissors. Their job is to cut through tendons, cartilage and small bones. These are the teeth your cat uses on cables. They are designed to process objects that are firm, elastic and resistant. When a cat bites something, it is not just cutting, it is reading. Through pressure, resistance and surface texture, the jaw collects a full profile of the object. It evaluates how the material reacts, how much force it requires, and whether it behaves like something edible. This process is automatic and faster than conscious thought. Researchers describe it as tactile feedback during biting. And this is where cables become relevant. A cable is round, flexible, and slightly resistant under pressure. It bends before it breaks, and its surface has a specific texture. These characteristics match the physical properties of natural prey structures. Think about a mouse tail, a tendon, or a thin bird bone. They are round, flexible, and resist before giving way. They have elasticity and a distinct surface feel. The cat's brain does not compare these objects consciously. It simply receives a signal that the object matches prey parameters. That signal activates the next stage of the hunting sequence, which is chewing and breaking down. Your charger passed the prey test. It failed the durability test. But this only explains the first bite. It does not explain why your cat returns to the same cable again and again. The second layer is smell. Cables do have a scent, even if you cannot detect it. A cat's sense of smell is roughly 200 times more sensitive than yours. Where you perceive neutral plastic, your cat detects a detailed chemical profile. Heated electronics release volatile compounds, and materials like rubber or PVC change their scent when warm. A cable connected to an active device smells different from a cold one. That warm, slightly organic chemical scent is not identical to prey, but it is close enough to trigger investigation. The recognition system does not need a perfect match. It only needs sufficient similarity. This is why cats are more likely to chew cables that are in use. A new cable may remain untouched for weeks and then suddenly become a target after regular use. It accumulates heat, scent and chemical traces over time. And this is also why most store-bought toys fail. They do not smell right, they are not warm, and their surface does not provide the correct feedback. They are either too smooth, too hard or too soft. They do not behave like prey in any meaningful way. A cable, on the other hand, matches multiple parameters at once. Shape, flexibility, resistance, scent, and temperature all align. There is also a third element that reinforces this behavior: sound. When a cat chews a cable, he hears what is happening inside his mouth. There is a faint crunch, a subtle resistance, a slight shift before the material gives way. For the cat's brain, this sound is part of the hunting sequence. It signals that the process is working as expected. This creates a feedback loop. The cat bites, hears the correct sound, receives confirmation, and continues. This is not a decision that can be stopped through discipline. It is an automatic loop driven by sensory feedback. That is why simply removing the cat from the cable does not solve the problem. You interrupt the behavior temporarily, but the stimulus remains. The nervous system continues to register the object as prey. After a short time, the cat returns and repeats the sequence. The only long-term solution is to change the environment. Either remove the stimulus entirely or redirect it to something appropriate. If the object is no longer visible or accessible, the trigger disappears. Without the trigger, the behavior does not activate. This works immediately and consistently. The next step is to change the smell of the object. Bitter sprays, citrus scents or protective coatings work through the cat's sense of smell. The cat approaches, smells something unpleasant and receives a warning signal. The object loses its status as prey. However, this requires consistency. The scent fades within 3 to 5 days and the cat will test the object again. During the first 2 to 3 weeks, reapplication is necessary every 1 or 2 days. Over time, the cat forms a stable avoidance pattern. If you stop too early, the behavior returns. The most important step is to give the cat what his teeth are actually looking for. This is not about distraction, but about replacement with the correct properties. The object must provide elasticity, resistance, texture and the right feedback when bitten. Dried tendons, dense rubber toys with textured surfaces and natural fiber materials work best. These objects resist, deform and produce layered feedback similar to real prey. They also carry a natural scent that aligns with instinct. When offered at the right time, they satisfy the need directly. The cable becomes irrelevant because the need is fulfilled elsewhere. Timing also matters. Cats do not chew cables randomly throughout the day. There are peak periods of hunting activity, usually in the early morning after waking and in the evening. During these times, the nervous system is primed for action. If you introduce appropriate objects during these windows, you reduce interest in cables significantly. 2 short sessions of active play per day, lasting about 10 to 15 minutes, can have a measurable effect. These sessions should involve movement, resistance, and tactile engagement. This directly satisfies the hunting sequence. Once the need is fulfilled, the cable is no longer attractive. Ignoring these periods and only reacting after damage occurs means you are addressing the result, not the cause. The behavior will continue because the underlying mechanism remains active. The only effective strategy is to work with that mechanism. Remove the trigger, adjust the environment, and provide a proper outlet. This approach does not suppress instinct, it redirects it. And that is the key difference between temporary control and lasting change. The next time you see your cat sitting in front of a cable with intense focus, you will understand what is happening. He did not choose that cable out of spite. He identified an object that matches prey across multiple parameters at once. Shape, texture, scent, and temperature all align with what his brain expects. He is not destroying your belongings. He is hunting. The problem is not the behavior, but the context. Move the cable, provide a better alternative, and the outcome changes. Your cat will accept it without resistance.